things as people and families are trying to live their lives, you're there for when things like this happen, right? When things like this happen is when you guys should step up. Where's the National Guard? Where's the Army, right? It's the devastation is just incredible. Somebody took a video. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Fletch.
No. Please.
I mean, and the thing is, when people have been trying to help, what I'm hearing is that they're being stopped. It took forever for FEMA to come there. They claim not to have any money. You know, the offer has been that these poor people will get $750 and that's it. And when there was a man who has a helicopter, he was literally saving people from roofs who had water rising, and they couldn't get out. In fact, he helped a couple of friends who were staying in the mountains at an Airbnb and had this happen. And they were on top of the roof, and he rescued them, took them to the airport. He helicoptered them, and he was helping people. And then FEMA stopped him and said he'd be arrested. He was interfering with their rescue efforts, but they couldn't get to where he was going. And they may not have known the terrain the way he did. So he did stop. I guess he didn't want to be arrested, and he had to end up leaving an old man in place. And who knows if they went back and got that old man. It's horrible. I mean, the fact that we care so much about people who are not American citizens, and we let American citizens go out like this, that's shameful.
It is, and it says a story that you had mentioned, because this is the South Carolina hero pilot threatened with arrest by local bureaucrats while rescuing flood victims, claims it was interfering with the operation. And we keep seeing this. I mean, there's memes out there on the Interflex, because of if you remember when Katrina happened, the Cajun Navy, as they were called, is just basically good old boys, rednecks, farm folks, and all kinds of people just going out there with their own boats and their ATVs and their giant trucks, helping out people. And it's shocking that you have this kind of thing happening in the world right now, in the United States, this great country of ours. As you said, the man was helping somebody out. We don't know, after he was stopped to do that, we don't know if that old man was able to be rescued. This is just crazy. You're not helping, and you're not allowing people to help that are able to help.
I mean, that's classic government.
This is worse than Katrina.
Yeah,
right?
It is worse than Katrina, I think. And this is classic government incompetence. That's kind of how it works. We're not going to help, and we're not going to let you help because of the bureaucracy and a sense of liability, I suppose. But I think the people who are being rescued wouldn't care about that. They just want to be rescued and get out of there and get help. And I also think that a lot of people had no idea how far this storm would go or how bad it would be, or didn't have time to get away. So it's really quite shocking for some of them. And of course, with the down communications, it's hard for them to even communicate with people. I don't think that he got any kind of calls or anything to go and help people. He's there with his son, by the way. People are watching the picture we have up here. That's on the left is the pilot, and then his young son he was using to take with him to rescue people. And in fact, the person who was the FEMA rep who was telling him he would be arrested, I guess they're law enforcement too, had told him he couldn't even go back to get his son. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go back and get my son, because he left his son. He left his son with the old man. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, that's not happening. At least I'm glad he went and got his son, but he had to leave the guy there. So
this is insane. You're basically saying that you can't rescue someone,
Yeah.
He's basically said, you can't rescue somebody.
Limited cell service and no water since Friday morning. I thought I have a helicopter and maybe I can help.
Jordan Seidhom piled food and water into his helicopter Saturday and headed up toward Banner Elk, the only way through a mountain gap in Lake Lure.
This is the mountain valley that you would have to fly to get to Black Mountain, where we were escorting people out. This is a mountain range, and this is a mountain range. The only place to fly through with bad visibility, low cloud coverage, is Lake Lure.
The cries for help from people stranded without food, water, or electricity hit social media soon after the flooding last Friday.
But my parents are stuck there. Their address is Banner Elk. They are in the first condo. If you receive this, please give me a call back. Thank you.
Seidhom's phone started lighting up on Saturday with people begging for help.
I could hear the desperation in her voice. This is multiple phone calls I've received.
So this is people so fed up with the government. They're not calling the sheriffs. They're not calling the emergency service. They're not calling the firefighters. They're calling this citizen who was gracious enough to basically said, "Here I am, Lord, use me," and helping people out. What the heck is this? What did you even send me, Ursula? This is the most depressing video so far, because this man is trying to actually do something to help people. And I can already see like quarterbacks out there, the armchair quarterback. Oh, he's not trained. Guess what? This is a disaster. That's somebody who's never been a disaster. If you haven't been in a disaster, guess what? Everybody's not trained. It's a disaster. Disaster. Yes, there are some people who are highly trained. Those are few and far between. Everybody needs to help, because somebody helping could mean life or death. Oh my gosh, you messed me up with this one. This is so sad. The woman is calling him.
I'm glad. I didn't know that people were calling him. Honestly, I thought he was just trawling about and seeing people. So I'm glad to know that people reached out to him. I think it's like very indicative of government, where it's like, you know what, we don't want you to help yourself, and we can't help you either. We don't want you to be independent of us, but then we also can't provide for all your needs either. It's like kind of communist, actually, or I should say kind of hammer and sickle. We won't say the word
hammer and sickle, but this is a hammer and sickle crowd, because this man now is tortured, because now this man who's able to help, who wants to help, who's in his core wants to help his fellow Americans, he is now forced by the stupid government, the federal government, because FEMA is federal. Before everybody says, hey, local government bumpkin, this is federal government. FEMA is federal. The federal government, meaning the administration that's in power right now, that's Harris, Biden. All right? Those people in government right now that are not helping these people that are stuck in this roof, right? This man now has to hear a message saying, please help me if you can, and he can't do nothing. Tell me that's not a torture in itself.
Yeah, that's awful. It's awful. And it just shows, because, in a well-functioning society, Fletcher, the government would consider fellow citizens as its collaborators, not as its serfs. It would see government would see itself as, you know what, let me help you help yourself. Let me work alongside you. You're the local help. Like you said, it's a disaster. We're going to throw out training for a minute. Obviously, there's already ways to get around this. It's something called the Good Samaritan law, which basically says if someone is not acting maliciously and they try to come to someone's aid, that they're not going to be held liable. So, you know what, let's have even more, strong ones. Let the government say, you know what, we deputize you. You are now, right now, take this star. You are one of us. Let's go help some people get off their roofs. Let's get them out of the water. Let's rescue them from cars. Let's get some kids from drowning. Let's go do this. It's opposed to, okay, bureaucracy wins the day. You sit here and let us, do nothing. But I think it's even more nefarious than that, Fletcher, because some people say they don't want to do that because if they don't do everything, they don't get paid as much or something. I think someone was explaining that what FEMA was doing was making camps, and that there's some kickbacks that people get for doing that. So having, citizens interfere definitely also thwarts their financial profit. which is very disgusting if it's true, but I wouldn't put it past it.
No, it's always the money. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
it's always
It's
follow
just
the money.
crazy. Follow the money, and it's my gosh, I can't.
I mean,
I can't.
what's amazing too with this guy, God bless him, is that, helicopter fuel ain't cheap. And he's also putting himself in danger. Helicopters have a high risk of problems. You got to get a really
weather and mountain range.
Weather, mountain ranges. There's obviously a hurricane, and the aftermath of that. He's basically putting himself at risk to help other people. That's what should be applauded, and not told, okay, stop, or you're going to get arrested. That's crazy. That's insane.
I mean, back in the days, didn't they give
wrong?
What?
That's just wrong.
Yes, I agree. But didn't back in the days they give this man a medal? Now they're giving him like a citation. It just keeps going. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
This was says Catholic Vote just posted this, and I guess is this fella who's the Secretary of Transportation. And he urges Americans affected by Hurricane Helene to stop using drones and instead rely on the limited emergency responders available as the federal government refuses to provide additional assistance. So basically, it's like there's no assistance, there's no help. But hey, if you guys use drones basically to help, find people that need help,
stop doing that.
Because, imagine you don't want to put yourself in danger, but you risking yourself becoming, in need of emergency services and therefore depriving of somebody who might actually need it. You decide, hey, I'm going to use a drone to look for people. I don't put myself in danger. But now it's telling you, don't be using anything to help people.
Isn't that insane?
To make sure that funding is no obstacle to very quickly getting people the relief that they need and deserve. There's also some safety issues that come up. For example, temporary flight restrictions to make sure that the airspace is clear for any flights or drone activity that might be involved in helping to allow those emergency responders to do their job. Our goal is to make sure that funding is no obstacle to very quickly getting people the relief that they need.
Yeah. It's like, the help, it's just crazy. It's just a crazy.
I mean, the thing is, Fletcher, here's the thing. It's classic. I mean, is what we've been saying. Government wants to erode your sense of self-responsibility or for your fellow citizen to help or do things, promising that they'll be your daddy, they'll do it for you, and then they don't do it, and they don't seem to care. And this guy, his whole intellect is darkened. I mean, just look at him. I like the picture you stopped here because you can just see this is not a real human being. He is, very flawed as a person and for many reasons. And he's not there to help.